name is from Activating Artemis. I'm a speaker and author of The Wolf in a Suit. I'm also a survivor of domestic violence and a psychotherapist who's been working in the field for over 20 years. I want to talk now about silver bullet priority number 4 to target relationship abuse. And from my experience, what we need to focus on and understand, and this is something I think that we all need to understand irrespective of our connection to any domestic violence or our work. Because we all have a body and we all get stressed and we all have involuntary responses that impact what our brain does and what our body does when we're automatically triggered from whatever stress is going on in our life. So we really need to understand that when we are under stress and our system is going to pick up from our environment and the situation what is possible for us to do. And that's going to be dependent on a number of factors. What's actually going on in the moment, but also our history about what's been safe for us to access, what we have a history of being able to access from our fight-flight response. And if we can't access our fight response, not necessarily physically fighting, but being able to have that energy to fight for ourselves, or flight to be able to get away, then our system will involuntarily go into a shutdown mode, the freeze response. But we also, as women, have an additional response because those 3 stress responses were only tested on men. And Dr. Shelley E. Taylor spent 25 years researching about women and their stress response. So we know now about the tending instinct, which is based on the hormones oxytocin and estrogen that get activated when we're under stress. And it means that as women we're going to tend, mend and befriend. It's all about keeping connections, staying together, affiliation, taking care of. So we really need to understand much more about these involuntary stress responses in our brain and our body, because that is what gets triggered when we're under stress. I mentioned that it also is dependent on our early life. And so dependent on different experiences that we were exposed to growing up, our system is going to be shaped by what we can access and what we can show. So it's not so simple and clear cut for me to say this is what a person looks like when they're in trauma. We need to understand that there are many faces of trauma. Some people will do that fight response and be argumentative, but they're in a trauma response. Some people will be always on the go. Yeah? Some people will be quite frozen, or no emotion, or not much energy, not much action to be able to access. But there are many more different faces of what trauma looks like. So we really have to get away from stereotypes of women looking bruised and battered and what someone in trauma looks like. We need to understand what happens in their brain and their body and how to recognise that. And I unpack that in more detail in specific talks and workshops that are available for community members, survivors and professionals. The other thing is about the unconscious. We all have an unconscious, and our unconscious is absorbing everything that is going on that our conscious mind chooses in that moment not to focus on, or those things that we've learnt not to pay attention to. So if we don't have the understandings about how to be with our unconscious is again going to be influencing how much we pay attention to and what's okay for us to pay attention to. Again, I work a lot more with each group, survivors, professionals and community members, to help them to understand how their unconscious works and how they can respond to someone else's unconscious in a way that is engaging and useful, because we need to be with the whole person to really target relationship abuse. Thank you for wanting to make a difference. My name is Anita Bentata from Activating Artemis. Please contact me so I can guide you to what is most relevant and appropriate for you from all of my resources and programs. Thank you.